Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello, Cobbs Corner family, and welcome to another episode of Cobbs Corner, your one-stop shop for all things TV, film, and pop culture. If this is your first time listening, then welcome to the Cobbs Corner family. I'm glad you're here. Hope you enjoy your stay here at Cobbs Corner. And to my returning listeners, welcome back. This is the 95th episode of Cobbs Corner. We're so close to that 100 episode milestone. I can feel it. It's going to be big. And I have no idea what I'm doing for the 100th episode yet. So thank you for listening and sharing this broadcast. In today's episode, we are continuing our longtime American Film Institute's Top 100 Greatest Movies of All Time, AFI series with... today we'll be continuing the AFI series as we explore the underbelly of Los Angeles through three separate and yet connected stories in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Guys, if you have been listening to Cobb's Corner for the past two episodes, you'll know that I've been doing this series with my two close friends. I guess you could say they're friends of the show. I've been on their podcast. They've been on my podcast twice. This is now their third. It's now their third appearance on Cobb's Corner. So everyone, put your hands together for the amazing Preston and EZ Bluez.
Hello.
Appreciate you.
I don't know if you guys heard the applause button that I...
Yes, I heard that.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Yeah, we heard it. Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
All right, that's the first time.
10,000%. Yeah, I heard that, man.
Amazing.
Nice.
Amazing. Yep. So yeah, I mean, this is it's our third episode. We've got, we've so far we've done Rocky, we've done Platoon. Today we're doing Pulp Fiction. And then we're gonna close it out with Do the Right Thing. Thank you guys. Thank you for showing up. And God willing, there will not be any technical difficulties this time. I've been listening to Preston and EZ Bluez. I think the last two episodes I listened to were when you interviewed John O'Donnell and Ife Michelle Garden.
Yes.
I remember I was listening to Ife Michelle Garden, I think Friday. And
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I think it's great that you guys are interviewing like local entrepreneurs and and having like real and raw conversations with real people in the greater New Haven area, the Connecticut area. And, I feel like I always listen to your podcast like when I'm like either driving to go pick up my brother from school or when I was working, I would always listen. I would always listen to it on my way to work, on my way home. So yeah, thank you guys for doing what you do. Keep going, don't stop.
Definitely.
Sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
I have steadily kind of stayed away from. Well, actually, now I realize with the past two episodes, past two people that you've interviewed, that I have to go back to back in experience and rediscover the city of New Haven.
Yeah,
Like it's not like it's the city that like educated me. Like I went to New Haven public schools from second grade all the way up through high school and Hamden before that. But
Okay.
I mean I'm originally from Naugatuck, Connecticut. I mean I claim that as home, but my life was always the greater New Haven area, greater Bridgeport areas. So the fact that there's so many like cool spots in New Haven, some that I've been to, some that I haven't. Like I know when I was overseas, and Mayor Elliker may or may not be hearing from me, and I might send a letter to City Hall about them shutting down an institution, Criterion Cinemas,
Right.
that disappeared. That disappeared when I was overseas. I saw a couple movies there on like school field trips. We saw Red Tails. We saw Selma, the Thurgood Marshall movie with Chadwick Boseman. Last movie I saw there was, I think, Jurassic World Dominion, because I remember I had like 4 hours to kill in downtown
I'm
Manhattan.
sorry.
I saw it. I saw,
I
I
apologize.
just
saw
love
it
how
like,
that's the cherry on the
Sorry,
top of all these
That's the cherry on
impactful
the
films.
top.
Like I've
I'm
seen
sorry you saw that.
Selma, I've seen this movie,
Yeah.
I've seen this movie, and
Yep.
I saw
Oh,
Jurassic
Lord.
Park.
And I saw Jurassic World Dominion.
It's time you can't get back from your life. Oh my God. I'm
Yeah,
sorry about
yeah.
that.
I mean, I
Yeah,
only
I
saw it
will
that one
never
time.
receive that.
I still think that Jurassic Park, I think we were driving down to National Harbor, Maryland. So we were in the car for like, I mean, with my family, a 6 hour drive just turns into an 8-9 hour drive. And I remember we were driving and all three Jurassic Parks were on Netflix. So I was able to watch 1 and 2. And then I started watching Jurassic Park 3 and I just couldn't get into it. I'm like, nope,
Right.
goodbye. It's probably the worst thing to come out of my birth year, 2001. You know. But hey, we also got Training Day, Baby Boy, Shrek.
Yeah.
But
Shrek,
yeah,
which
that
is
and then
receiving their anniversary now.
oh yeah. Yep. And then when I saw that they were doing Jurassic World, it's like it's kind of like it kind of just got repetitive. Like I liked World. I definitely enjoyed the dynamic between Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt. Like for me, it was just the acting. I feel like the acting was kind of what
Got
kept
you.
me watching
Mhm.
Jurassic World and going back to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I like what they did with Dominion by bringing together the cast from Jurassic Park, bringing together Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, everyone from the original trilogy, and kind of bringing them together with the new trilogy. Because I feel like The Lost World of Jurassic Park was missing Sam Neill, and then Jurassic Park 3 was missing Jeff Goldblum.
Right.
And then both movies were missing Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Understand.
I'm sorry, but all movies are missing Samuel L. Jackson. The more Samuel L. Jackson we can
course.
get, the better. And it's coming from me. We have a song called Sam Jackson. That's how much we love Samuel L. Jackson. There's a Samuel L. Jackson figure in our rehearsal space. He watches
Oh.
over our rehearsal space.
Okay. All right. So Samuel L. Jackson, if you're listening, I doubt it.
Yeah. No, you're listening. No, don't talk down about yourself. Talk up about yourself.
Of course.
Sam, man, since you've been such a long time listener.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, since you've been such a long time listener, we're about to review 2 of your films. You're not just in Pulp Fiction, you're also in Do the Right Thing. I don't think I've reviewed any other Samuel L. Jackson movies. I'd have to look back. But Samuel L. Jackson, or anyone on his team, since you are listening, I can't wait to have you guys on the podcast. Can't wait to have you guys, show up to, one of Shane Penguin's performances. Definitely show up and and yeah. I mean, Jurassic World. What's the new one called? The Rebirth.
Yeah, the
Rebirth. Yeah.
Rebirth. I haven't watched like
This
any of the
coming year.
trailers. Yeah.
I got sent a trailer.
But-
It looked like a Jurassic Park trailer. You know what I mean? Like it's just I'm so done.
Right.
It's been done to death. I hope they do it well because look, I love dinosaurs, and if you can put dinosaurs in any type of movie, I'm gonna want to watch it. And you put dinosaurs and Samuel L. Jackson in a movie together, yo, I'm in. I'm sick and tired of these mother father raptors on this mother father train. I get it. Like, let's go. That'd be the best thing out there. But yeah. I have not.
Or the movie 65 with Adam Driver, which I heard was really bad.
Yeah, it's true.
So I have consciously, like, as I've been catching up on Marvel, I know I said in like the last episode I'm doing all the heavy lifting with the crime dramas. I just had to, like, over the past like 2 weeks just kind of sit and plug away at catching up on Marvel. Like I remember I think when I was at the gym and I would be on the treadmill, like usually what I'll do is I'll just like have my phone, my headphones on, and I'm like watching, like I was watching What If. I finished Agatha All Along. I finished What If season 3, and then just recently finished season 1 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm not caught up on Daredevil Born Again though. Like I think
Won't say anything then.
yeah,
we
I
won't
think
say
it was Friday. I watched just the first episode, so I got up to the part where again, spoilers for any of my listeners who haven't watched Daredevil Born Again. The part where I got to see Foggy died, and like it cut to like 1 year later, and then there's a scene where like Wilson Fisk shows up and his wife Vanessa is in like the meeting. So I got up to that part. There's like 20 or 30 minutes left. These episodes are long, like, but so long episodes. Am I watching a TV show or a movie here? Like, what?
Well, that's the key thing. That's what I love about some of these Marvel episodes is when they can be hour 15 long. It is you're getting a movie. You're getting 6 movies instead of it going like might be one of the only people that is upset that The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be in theaters and it's only going to be 2.5 hours long. I want a 6-hour series. I want an 8-hour series. I want I want those characters fleshed out as much as humanly possible. But that's me. I'm weird. So I get it.
That's fine. I mean, I will say that a lot of times TV shows can go places where a movie cannot. With a movie, you're kind of restricted to that, hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 hour time frame. But then with like an anthology series or not anthology series, like with a mini series or a limited series, you can actually go places where you couldn't in the span of just 2 hours. Because even like limited series are kind of like shot like films. Because like usually the limited series they're shot like films. Like I know there was the show Unsolved, which was about the Biggie and Tupac murders, and on Netflix there was When They See Us about the FKA Central Park 5. They're now the Exonerated 5, and so I think that with the like you were saying, Easy, about the show format, you can kind of tell more stories with the 6 different episodes as opposed to just a 2.5 hour movie on screen. I've always said ever since the launch of Disney Plus, because I think The Mandalorian was like the flagship series for Disney Plus. I've always said that with Star Wars and even with Marvel, the real world building and storytelling and expanding is always going to be on the big screen and not on the streaming services, because not everyone has Disney Plus. And I know now Marvel has kind of separated a lot of their projects. Like there's Marvel Television now, which is the Agatha All Along, Daredevil Born Again, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's Marvel Television. Marvel Animation is X-Men 97, What If, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and of course, Marvel Studios, that's the movies. That's the Captain America, Brave New World, still to come, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four First Steps. I might have to see one of those movies. I'm probably going to see twice. But yeah, I like that Marvel's at least made that kind of distinction, whereas with Star Wars, well, we haven't gotten a theatrical Star Wars movie in a hot minute, but the Star Wars, like they kind of have like their logo with like the shows on Disney Plus, but there's no like Star Wars. It just says Star Wars. Like it's not Star Wars television or Star Wars streaming or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't have like the MCU being the film aspect of it, and then you have MTV and all that kind of stuff.
Right. MTV.
I know. I was being funny.
MTV. I like how they kind of. They really probably could have like taken that and just kind of like finessed it. It's like, Marvel television, not music television.
Yeah, Marvel television.
Kind of like how I did with CNN. It's like, hey, current nerd news, the most trusted name in TV, film, and you know what? In case anyone from Atlanta is listening, no. So I've been hesitant to tune into Three Nerds Venting out of fear that, Spider-Man or What If or Daredevil Born Again would get spoiled. I've been trying to avoid spoilers, so I haven't listened to Three Nerds Venting in a
very smart
while.
Yeah, smart play.
Very smart play.
Yes. Now, of course, the reason why I brought you both here, the reason the recurring topic is, of course, the WWE. That's the real reason why I bring Preston and EZ Bluez. We're just gonna sit and chat about the state of the WWE. I know the title says Pulp Fiction, but too late. You're already here. You already clicked on the episode. So you might as well just.
All right, we'll find a way to slide this back into Pulp Fiction.
We'll find a way to.
The segue was glorious.
Everything comes around. Full circle. First off, we gotta address the big elephant in the room. My inner 9-year-old is just is screaming, is crying. Okay, after the events of March 1st. I mean, whew, man, John Cena's heel turn. I mean, it's like I'm a part of that generation that kind of grew up with Cena, like kind of when he was, I guess you could say, the baby face, and kind of coming out of the Thugonomics era. I guess really technically that was his original heel turn. Coming out of the Thugonomics era in like the 2005, 2006 to then the Never Give Up,
Mm-hmm.
the Never Give Up era, and him being him having the whole Never Give Up generation. I actually
Yeah,
saw him wrestle live at the XL Center that time against Sheamus,
that's cool.
and trying to think of what else. There was his 2-year feud with The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder, because there was a video that I'd watched about the signs. It might have been from WrestleMania. Shout out to you.
Mhm.
And it was about like the signs of John Cena's heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
And the signs were like the fact that after he was runner up in the Royal Rumble, he then at the press conference just said, I'm going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I think it's what's
Mm-hmm.
best for business that I win the Elimination Chamber and go on to WrestleMania. Like he didn't have to. And I think even CM Punk had pointed this out in one of the promos ahead of the Elimination Chamber, pointed out how John Cena didn't even have a qualifying match.
Right.
He just said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be in the elimination chamber. This will
Mhm.
be my last elimination chamber. I'm in it.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to qualify, but no, I'm in it." And then the fact that he eliminates CM Punk, even after CM Punk had already eliminated Seth Rollins, and then Seth Rollins, of course, stomps CM Punk, and then John Cena took advantage, eliminated
That's right.
Punk. So
Mm-hmm.
there were like kind of like hints to John Cena's heel turn. So I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, it's actually, and it's funny because we've had an uncensored show, and before his heel turn, our magician friend Chris said, maybe this is all a heel thing because John Cena's been talking about coming back and coming back full time, but he hasn't wrestled. He hasn't been there full time. Maybe this is all the heel aspect, and that's why I was like, oh, maybe this is the heel thing because he's not hustling. He's just showing up. He's not showing respect to the business. He's not being loyal to the fans. He's going against his 3 big principles, and I thought that was a genius way to look at it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that they've been planting the seeds for this heel turn for a while now. I mean, I'm someone who wished this heel turn would have happened 4, 5, 6 years ago,
Even
especially
10.
even 10, but especially during the Wyatt feud. I think if Wyatt could have turned him heel and given him a whole new dimension, that would have been amazing. But and as for someone who this has happened to me twice now. I was there when Hulk Hogan turned,
Oh, yeah.
and the whole wrestling world went, what in the world is going on right now? And then I was there when Cena turned. And I think Hogan's was a lot more impactful to the business because here was telling people, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, do all this kind of stuff. And now he's, oh my gosh, he's a bad guy. He's never done that before. And Cena's been the same. You could say he's been the same story, except for they at least had the invasion storyline with the NWO, which was a better storyline than this Rock storyline that they have going on right now. So I think personally, Hogan, as much as I hate Hogan and I hope he gets run over by a Mack truck,
This guy.
no, I'm dead serious. I do not like me some Hulk Hogan.
He's a real life internet troll. Like,
Yeah, he's real life internet troll, and like I said, I would not be sad if if he was in the Wrestling Hall of Fame credits, I'd be okay because I feel his career is credit worthy. And then I don't want to hear any more from him. I love the fact that he just got booted off of WrestleMania they no longer have you can have a box with Hulk Hogan because the sales were too low. So good on you guys. Good on you guys. I appreciate you fans doing the good work out there. What do you think, P?
I agree with you. It's a great time to be a fan, and not just WWE. We're getting more variety just from everywhere: Japan, London, different other leagues just throughout. It's a good time to start being a fan. It's a good time to continue being a fan. It's a good time to come back into it. So it's a great time to be alive as a wrestling fan. And the best part, I think, even though the booking was way off, in my opinion, this WrestleMania, I think it's also needed in a way because it gives us of the suspicion of we don't know what's really going on. Is this match happening? Is that match happening? Or are they going to book this? Because we can really predict a WrestleMania card like 4 or 5 months in advance. This time, we really didn't because everything was just happening so quickly. And like we only have it just a couple weeks away until the big show. So like I like it and I understand why they're doing some stuff at the timing they are. So I applaud this method. I applaud the heel turn. It's well deserved. I honestly want them to be heel all year. I think that would be great. And I think it'll be good for their business, and I think it'd be good for Cena. And because either way, if he's a bad guy, he'll still be cheered his last match. He's put so much in for the business. It's insane.
And they could literally turn him face in the middle of that match. I remember when storylines used to be so incredibly well written and so good. I remember Kurt Angle changed 3 times in a match, and then the next day changed back into a face. You know what I mean? It was just ridiculous. So they could change him. If the fans will cheer for his last match, and he will be a face whether he's booked as the heel or not.
Absolutely.
Because they did it for Hogan when it was Hogan versus Rock. They did it for Flair when Flair was versus Michaels. They'll do it for Cena.
Yeah, I've also heard people, now again, this is before my time, I've heard people compare John Cena's heel turn to that of Stone Cold Steve Austin when he had, I think, cited. Oh,
no,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
but no, not at all. Because mind you, Hogan, Austin, just before that time, it was before social media, and it was a time where you really didn't know or could have expected or wanted it to happen. And people were talking about this turn and wanting this turn for John Cena for years and years. When Hogan and Austin made these switch changes, it just happened, and then people started to talk about it. And also with Austin, he started as a bad guy when he went into the WWF back then, now the WWE. And then his hard work and his promos and his delivery, and everybody was taking a liking to them, the audience, that's when they started to cheer for him and said, this is our guy, not the person that you're forcing us.
Well, see, and also during as the person who lived through those times as well, Austin went face heel, face heel, face heel, face heel, face heel, heel face, heel face, heel, super heel face. He would change. They would change characters. If not weekly, sometimes monthly and so forth. Just because it changed, because that story was done. It was done being told in that way, and they needed to tell it in a different way.
Right.
I don't like how they've been holding on to. Because you get to see the full dimension of the characters. I think like with the New Day, seeing this new heel New Day, it's some of the best heel stuff that you have going out there because it's genuine. Like it's based off of a genuineness. Where they can say, oh, well, we try to give you positivity, but you wanted to be negative. I can't believe you're not letting us do this right now. I love that because there's this nugget of truth. One of the best feuds I ever saw was Jericho versus Goldberg, because they almost got into it in WCW, and when they were in the WWE, they teased that they were going to get into a fight backstage, and people were like, "Oh, is this real? Is he really going to fight him?" That's the cool stuff. But yeah, I also to be honest, because Austin changed so often, I don't think any of Austin's heel turns or face turns categorize. I think the only thing that can categorize with the Cena heel turn is the Hogan heel turn, because they both stayed face for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Right, makes sense. Of course, we got the upcoming, Jey Uso versus Gunther. I think it was nice to see the Usos back together. I think Monday Night Raw we had like Jimmy and Jey Uso versus A-Town Down Under.
Yep.
So that was fun. I know tomorrow night we've got Jimmy Uso versus Gunther.
Yeah,
I think with yeah. I think now that it's now that we're in the Netflix era and I've like just recently gotten back into wrestling, and of course there was some stuff that happened pre-Netflix era that I kind of like missed out on and I'm like still kind of catching up on. I'm glad that now they have the After Raw podcast, I think. With and they actually had Jey Uso on this past week. It was Jey Uso and Big E, who I guess is I don't know if he's considered retired. I know he was injured he's now
he's shelved, and he it's kind of day to day if he'll ever come back and whether he even wants to come back or anything like that. So right now he's just staying in as just like a backstage personality type of help.
Yeah, it's in the air, up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to see him back, as much as I would love to see the guy who injured him fired,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny even with like the new day. Like I realized Kofi Kingston's been wrestling for a hot minute. I think there was some compilation I was watching of wrestlers breaking character, and there was some promo that he did with D-Generation X back in early 2010s. Like, what happened to your accent? Are you supposed to be Jamaican? that was when he dropped the accent.
Yeah, and he dropped the accent in that promo. It was the only time he was ever dropped the accent to do that, because they realized the accent just wasn't getting over. And he also is not from Jamaica.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I realized that.
So, but he was wrestling as the Kofi Kingston, a version of Kofi Kingston. I don't remember exactly what the name was on the Independents. And the character was over. The same as Sheamus was wrestling as Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Yeah, SOS.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I realized even on SmackDown, well, I guess taking it back to the Elimination Chamber, the whole time, the engineer in me is just thinking like, man, like somebody had to design this chamber and like the pods and like the whole like ring. I'm thinking, hey, WWE engineers, definitely give me a shout out. I'm sure you guys got engineers that like travel. Somebody got to set all that up and take all the stuff down. Okay, you guys just did a whole European tour. The fact that Jade Cargill returned, and then initially we thought it was Liv Morgan who had attacked her. But no, she then attacks Naomi, and Naomi's now had a heel turn, I guess. Because I was watching Friday Night SmackDown, and so now Naomi's having a heel turn. So dare I say it's kind of like the season. I know we're on the road to WrestleMania, and it's like only a couple weeks away. Like you said, Preston, it is an exciting time to be a fan. I can remember when the WWE women's division, it wasn't even called that. It was just called Divas. And I think this is going back to like the PG era, and how over the years, like through Becky Lynch and Bayley and all the different superstars who have come up through NXT, the talent that's in NXT right now. And I mean, they say that it's like the strongest women's division in wrestling, and how now that there's actually the WWE women's division. For a while, there was no women's Royal Rumble. And I want to say the first one was like mid 2010s. I can't remember the exact year, but now there's Lyra Valkyria, who's the inaugural Intercontinental champion. I think she just defended her championship against Raquel Rodriguez. It was kind of I don't know if funny is the word I would use. Monday night when Penta was going up against Braun Breaker, I think, for the ICC, the Intercontinental Championship, and how Dominic Mysterio is, he was telling Finn Balor like, hey, we can maybe bring Penta into the Judgment Day, and and then like the match essentially ends in like a no contest because
Judgment Day get involved and everyone gets
Judgment Day
whacked.
get involved. But like I'm wondering like how many times is this gonna happen though? Like how many
Mhm.
of these like is even Jacob Fatu, who I would love to see have like a United States championship run, you know.
I believe that's gonna happen. I can see that
Yeah.
happening. Super
Yeah,
future.
because he just interrupted the match between LA Knight and Braun Breaker. And
Yeah.
you know,
Hot take. This is definitely a hot take. What I think is going to happen. I think both of the secondary heavyweight belts are going to have a multi-man, which I am cool with. For the Raw side, for the Red brand, I see Dom, Finn, Breaker, and Penta all going at it for that one belt. I would love for it to be a ladder match, but don't ask for good things too early. Also for a SmackDown,
Hold on 1 second. Before you get to SmackDown, I want to give it. And I personally think what's actually, if it is a ladder, especially if it's a ladder match, I would not be shocked if the lights go out and Finn Balor gets taken out, and you see Aleister Black standing there.
That'd be cool.
And he lets Dominic climb the ladder.
Yeah, I'm thinking Dominic's gonna get the IC title win. WrestleMania. It makes the most sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Breaker's too good, and he is at the right age. I say give him the heavyweight belt.
Oh yeah,
That's
definitely.
That's my opinion. I think he's destined for greatness. He reminds me of what they should have done with Keith Lee 6-7 years ago, in my opinion, because he's too good. He's too good. Take advantage of the moment right now. You cannot get this back.
Nope.
No, strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, man.
I guess last thing I'll talk about for WWE, I noticed Tuesday night on NXT, which I realize is usually just live from Orlando. I realized that they were not with I guess the main roster of WWE on the European tour. Although the Motor City Machine Guns did make an appearance on NXT. Stephanie Vakir has broken the curse. You know, she had both titles, the NXT Women's title and the NXT Women's North American title. Typically, when a superstar has two titles simultaneously, they've not able to defend both titles in the same night. So it's like it was a possibility she could lose both that night. She could walk away with both, or she could lose one and keep the other.
She's too good.
Yeah, but it's also got to be.
Well, she was offered a main event roster spot from Jump. She's the one who's like, "Let me go to NXT first."
That was smart.
You know,
smart decision. Well, that and you don't want to get oversaturated from what they have now,
right?
You know, because like I don't want to see her lose to a Charlotte or like one of the main four, and I can see that happening. Look what happened to back in WrestleMania. It was white hot, and then her momentum went down ever since that. In my opinion, went down ever since the Charlotte win at WrestleMania for Asuka, and Asuka's still one of my favorites. She's the real Asuka back in the day. She's still a beast.
She's still a beast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I feel like I might need to like start off every podcast episode with like welcome to Cobbs Corner. Acknowledge me.
That'd be cool.
Acknowledge
me. Yes.
Just don't get sued.
Of course not. I'll just have to say that to like all the guests that I have, and it's like But yeah, I mean, there was the contract signing for. I mean, I feel like we all kind of saw it coming. The CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth freaking Rollins triple threat match at WWE, and tomorrow night. Now, if I were the general manager of Raw, I would have probably said like, consider the WWE Women's Champion match at WrestleMania 41. Consider that my official resignation, because I tell you, the Raw general manager, I can't think of the guy's name. He has just been going through it. Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce. I'm like, send this man to Tahiti after WrestleMania. Yes, send him to Tahiti. All right. It's a Karate Kid 3 reference.
It's going to be a triple threat. which I'm excited about. Io deserves it. Rhea deserves it. Bianca deserves it. It's going to be a
And
good
they're
match.
going to give us a hell of a match.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
those three styles combined are going to dance so well together that it's got the caliber to be match of the night on a WrestleMania card.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah,
hands down.
Well,
WrestleMania, hands down. Yeah.
This year will actually be the first year that I've actually watched WrestleMania. Not gonna lie.
That's awesome.
Yep. I wish I was going to Las Vegas. I wish I was going to New Orleans next year. One of these days. I don't know. I don't know if either of you have been to a PLE or.
I've been to a PLE, and homeboy, I'll let homeboy tell you what he's been to.
Been to a lot of PLEs. Money in the Bank, Mania 2 times. I'll get back to you next episode. We'll get back to you next episode, and
right.
I'll tell you how I wasted my money on some PLEs. But yeah, definitely. I wasted some money. Yeah.
Yes. Tune in to the next.
Yeah, definitely. That's a teaser for your audience right there.
Okay. Yeah. Tune in next week when we. I'll just have to like change the title to PLE stories featuring Preston and EZ Bluez. Like, we're also gonna talk about Do the Right Thing, but I have to draw the listeners in, somehow. But
exactly. No, exactly. And what's really incredible is some of the storytelling, especially since Roman Reigns has actually been running with the thing, and they say that he's been the best cinematic wrestler. So I think it's very poignant. You have the good guy, the bad guy, and the guy indifferent. You have this incredible story of the father versus the sons. You have this incredible story, of these things moving forward. And not only that, but on a WrestleMania card or any type of PLE, you have several storylines that are spinning together.
Oh yeah.
While moving, so you're seeing one big story while small stories are happening, very much like our movie Pulp Fiction. I told you I'd segue into it. I told you I'd segue into it.
EZ Bluez coming in clutch with the bringing it on home. As far as PLEs, I think maybe if I just got to go to the Royal Rumble like at least once, I don't know if I'd want to go out to. Well, I've never been to Las Vegas, so I mean, there's that. But like,
Vegas will change. Vegas will change you, bro. Vegas will change you. Vegas will change you. There's some things in Vegas.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I would not know.
I would.
I wouldn't know. Just like the people who got the job done by Samuel Jackson and John Travolta. They didn't know what was going to happen in that scene,
of course,
at all. That was crazy.
Of course. I guess last thing before we get into Pulp Fiction, what streaming or movie recommendations do you guys have for the Cobbs Corner family for this week?
Well, I have hey, if you don't waste your time with, and it's going to be a controversial pick, to be honest with you. I wasted time watching the new Wicked, and I didn't like it.
I liked it.
I like the original better. The best part of this new Wicked is when the original characters showed up for 2 seconds and did their thing, and the rest of it was boring, and I wanted to take a nap. So I'm suggesting don't watch Wicked. I mean, if you want to watch it, watch it. I don't want to watch it, don't watch it. I just say you're wasting your time watching it, to be honest with you. See the play. See the Broadway play. It's much better.
The Broadway play. All right. Heard it here first. Preston.
I say watch it.
He says watch it. Okay.
I liked it. It was good. It was good. For what it was good. It's a 50-50 split. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't like what you see throughout the middle or in the beginning, cut it off, move on with life. But, that's not my pick. But I just say watch it. I liked the movie for what it was. I saw it in theaters. It was pretty good for what it was. I'm a little excited for part 2 coming out this fall. And I'm game. I'm game. My picks, I'm gonna keep it simple. I like to laugh. Bob's Burgers. That's a good show. I was watching that on Disney Plus. Disney Plus / Hulu. The little deal they got, a little split deal. And I was watching a lot of Simpsons. I'm not gonna lie. A little old school Simpsons, like back in the day. appreciate the classics. Watch some of your old sitcoms. That's my pick of the day. Oh, and definitely check out Daredevil. So those have been my picks for my two picks: Daredevil and any classic sitcom you want to watch on a streaming service before they take it down.
Mm.
They're taking a lot of good shows down, which I'm really disappointed at.
Yeah. I mean, for me, in terms of streaming shows, definitely echoing Preston. Watch Daredevil, Born Again. Whether if it's Daredevil, Born Again, or the original Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil series. Because I actually haven't watched all of Daredevil, because I know there's Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher. Like that's there's a whole order that you're supposed to like follow, because all those shows are like interconnected. But definitely recommend watching any of those, the old Netflix Marvel shows. Check out Daredevil Born Again if you haven't already. Watch all 3 seasons of What If. My favorite episode of season 3 was the episode with the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier. That episode, classic. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Agatha All Along. I don't think I'd finished the season finale. I didn't. I wasn't really into
it also
that
wasn't
show.
really meant for your demographic, if I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? It's a show for the weird and the witchy, and I respect the weird and the witchy, and so it just really wasn't your demographic.
Makes sense. I mean, I liked Hocus Pocus.
Everyone liked Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus 2,
course.
not so much.
Yes, I watched 1 and 2 back to back, actually.
Did you?
And I was watching 1 for the first time somehow.
Oh,
at
okay.
like 21. Like, huh? What? Why have I not seen this? that's every movie that I watch now. It's like, why have I not already seen this? That was not the way that I felt about Snow White.
Yes.
Snow White.
I saw a video of you in Snow White. And
I remember before,
and not behind a paywall.
What do you mean?
Don't. It was a joke, bro.
Okay. Yes. Well, before we started recording this episode, Easy and I were talking about how if you haven't already seen it, I recorded a Instagram. It's an Instagram reel. I posted it on TikTok. I also posted it on YouTube as a YouTube short, and I had essentially said, don't go see this movie in theaters. Like, I saw it in theaters, so you don't have to. I mean, the amount of deviations that they made away from the original movie. The movie already had so much outside controversy with Rachel Zegler's PR. And then, of course, Rachel Zegler being pro-Palestine and being anti-Trump. And Gal Gadot, I think, is like pro-Israel. Because I actually got some comments on TikTok about somebody saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna actually see it just to piss off the pro-Palestine." I actually got a couple trolls in my comments on TikTok. So shame on all of you. But yeah, wait for it on Disney Plus. Maybe watch it once in your life, maybe, if you would like to. I think the original is a classic. It's on the AFI Top 100. I'm probably gonna.
And also, maybe when we're casting the Wicked Witch, we don't cast, someone who's actually massively gorgeous.
That too.
That
too. Yeah. I think that too. But I also think that with Disney and their live action remakes, the fact that I think it's okay for us to recognize like that some of these movies are problematic. Even some of the movies on this AFI list are problematic. It's okay for us to recognize them and maybe like put a disclaimer before the movie, like, oh, we recognize that the depictions are problematic or whatever. Because I know they did that with Peter Pan. Maybe we can just do that and then not try to reinvent the wheel, making 15 different changes, making so many changes that can you even really call it Snow White? Can we call it Peter Pan at this point? Why not just start from scratch and just do something else entirely? Like, I think the right way to do it is with movies like Black Panther, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Even Shang-Chi had some problematic depictions of Asian people in the comics back in the 60s. I mean, we're talking, this was post-Korea and like before and during the Vietnam War. So, very problematic depictions. And Stan Lee, while he was alive, had retconned the origin stories of Shang-Chi, who, if I'm not mistaken, is loosely based on Bruce Lee.
Right.
And then we got in 2021 Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. We got Black Panther. I think that's the way to do it, is with original art, original stories. I know, like you said, Easy. I think you said it a couple times on your platform that art has to be bulletproof, and that you
Yes.
should make better art. So I think that's the solution, as opposed to just reinventing the wheel a million times. But I also think maybe that this movie is a necessary box office flop, because I heard that it had like a $270 million budget, and I think it's necessary for this movie to maybe make it to theaters and fail, so then Disney can stop like force feeding all these live action remakes. Maybe we'll find out that next year's Hercules movie gets canceled.
I'm
Hopefully.
game for it. No, I don't want to get canceled, man. I want it to happen.
See, I want it to happen.
Cartoon.
But I
It's a
want it to
good
happen because it's
cartoon. I
the
want
best
it.
soundtrack. The soundtrack was ridiculous because it's an incredible soul soundtrack.
Soundtrack was awesome.
Yeah.
They got some good singers today, man, that can just capture the sound of Hercules. So I'm
Yeah.
with it. You know, I don't like James Woods. He can, go kick rocks. They can get another actor to play
Word.
Hades. I'm game for Hercules. It was good. I would like the guy who played Elvis. What was his name? Austin Butler.
Mhm.
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. Yeah,
Okay.
he played Elvis. If he gets buffed up in the gym, he can play good Hercules. I don't know who they'll get
Okay.
for the other people to be casting, but I'm game. Like if it's done right, it's done right. Like Goofy movie, leave it a cartoon. Don't make it live action.
Oh
You
God.
know what I mean?
Right. Word.
Not every
God,
cartoon could be
no.
live action. Not every cartoon could be live action.
To be honest.
Yeah, Lion King, I felt they could have left alone because you will play the Lion King 1994 version for like 20, 30 years from now. Some movies are just iconic. Like Friday's iconic. Trading Spaces is iconic. You know what I mean? Some movies you don't need a remake for.
No.
Godfather. Yo, don't recreate Godfather.
No. You'll
Don't
have
recreate
rights.
Scarface. Do not do it.
Well, Scarface is technically a reboot.
Don't reboot the reboot. Don't do it. Do not do that. Do not reboot the reboot. I am totally against that.
Right.
Some things should
Of
not be
course.
touched. It's not broken
Of
on
course.
things. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that with Snow White, like Disney, they're running out of classics to remake. I mean, the first Snow White, I have it on DVD now. It's regarded as the greatest animated film of all time. It was Walt Disney's very first feature film. He purchased a ton of land, and without Snow White, we wouldn't have gotten Peter Pan. We wouldn't have gotten Dumbo or The Lion King.
Right.
And I think now Disney's running out of all these like beloved classics, like multi generations. Like my grandparents grew up with Snow White, and because these are movies that are like beyond most people who are alive today either weren't alive when it came out or were very little when it came out. So but now they're kind of going at the Disney Renaissance era. If you remember, I think in like the 90s and 2000s, movies like Hercules, like Lilo and Stitch, maybe The Lion King were a part of that Disney Renaissance era. So now that Disney's run out of classics, they're coming for the movies that like millennials grew up with, and millennials and also older members of Gen Z, like myself, movies that came out before I was born, but I remember watching Lilo and Stitch as a kid. I think I've seen Hercules once, Little Mermaid, but Aladdin as well. I guess the Disney Renaissance era, but then there's also some people who are maybe your age that consider those movies classics as well.
2 to 3 live Disneys I would like to see the remake for, and I'll make it as quick as humanly possible. I'd like to see a remake for the Robin Hood Disney with the foxes and stuff like that. I think they could do an incredible live action there, just because it's one of my favorite ones, and plus it also invented furries. I'm not wrong. If you look at the origin of furries, it starts with that Robin Hood movie. Just trust me. All right. And then I'd like to see the Hercules, would be dope. And of course, my favorite, I would love to see a live action of now I can't remember the name of it. I'm a llama. Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, Emperor's
New Groove.
Yes, I would love to see that.
I thought you were gonna say Atlantis: The Lost Empire, but
no.
Really?
I'm down.
I saw like a fan casting of like Zendaya and like someone else. Oh, what was Zendaya and Tom Holland? Okay.
It was Zendaya and Tom Holland. Which I don't think you need to put them in every movie.
Yeah, I don't think
true. Yep, I did also see a video on YouTube like yesterday, and it was I think the thumbnail was just Zendaya, and it was called like, why is she in everything now?
Because she draws, she makes money. She's a good
Absolutely.
investment.
Absolutely.
True.
Absolutely. It's
True.
business.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
But is it best for business?
is it best for business? All right. Well, time to finally get to I guess just cue the, I don't know if you guys have seen Death Proof, but or I think also before Kill Bill, it's like the generic, like the
The Saturday special,
copyright
the Saturday
free
special.
version. Our feature presentation, Pulp Fiction, main event, Cobbs Corner, is on your airwaves. About to get sued one of these days. Intro. Preston, why don't you kick us off?
The lives of two mob hitmen, a boxer, a gangster, and his wife, and a pair of diner bandits intertwine in four tales of violence and redemption.
Jules Wingfield, Samuel L. Jackson, and Vincent Vega, John Travolta, are two hitmen who are out to retrieve a stolen suitcase from their employer, Marcellus Wallace, Ving Rhames. Wallace has asked Vincent to take his wife, Mia, played by Uma Thurman, on out for a few days, and a few days later, Wallace himself will be returning back to town. Butch Coolidge, Bruce Willis, is an aging boxer who is paid by Wallace to lose his fight. The lives of these seemingly unrelated people are woven together, comprising in a series of funny, bizarre, and uncalled for incidents.
Yes, and actually, Bruce Willis. Well, Butch Coolidge is played by Bruce Willis. He's a boxer. I would just like to first sidebar, just express my condolences to the friends and family of the late George Foreman. At some point, I'm going to review Ali, and there was a George Foreman movie as well. So definitely R.I.P. to one of the greats, George Foreman. And I would also like to express not my condolences, but my thoughts and prayers to the friends and family of Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis currently is dealing with dementia, Alzheimer's at the young age of 70. So I'd just like to, express, I guess for myself and the Cobbs Corner family, I'd like to, everyone just kind of keep Bruce Willis in prayer. That man is not in the best of health currently. So the movie is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino, how many of us haven't seen at least one of his films? I'm surprised this is the first Tarantino movie that I'm reviewing. I'm surprised it took 95 episodes for me to do a Tarantino movie. He's written and directed Reservoir Dogs, his very first movie. Yeah, and he also starred in that movie. He was Mr. Brown. He wrote and starred in From Dusk Till Dawn. And he wrote and directed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, his most recent film in 2019. As I was researching Quentin Tarantino before recording this episode, I found out he actually has an uncredited voice cameo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as the Red Apple Cigarettes commercial director. So.
Oh. Wow. That's crazy. Ah. That's awesome, by the way. That's a good fact.
The more you know.
Yeah. For the writer, Roger, I hope I don't butcher his last name. Avery, Academy Award winner, known for Reservoir Dogs, 1992, Killing Zoe, 1993, and I like this movie. It's bad, but I like this movie. Beowulf, 2007.
I heard of it.
It was good. The book obviously is better.
The book was so much better. Thank you, because a lot of people bash me about that. I love the book.
No, the book was amazing, and also when you get to see Angelina Jolie up close and personal like that, you don't mind that she has a snake tail. It's okay. It's fine. John Travolta, Academy Award nominated as Vincent Vega, known for playing Tony Manero from Saturday Night Fever, Danny Zuko in Grease, Chili Palma in Get Shorty, and also Chili Palma in Be Cool, which is one of the best movies of all time. I stand on that.
Okay, all right. American Film Institute, you heard that. Uh, I not gonna hold you. I haven't seen Saturday Night Fever, Grease, or Get Shorty. I know John Travolta from Hairspray, Gotti. Well, from this movie, I know that this was the movie that revitalized his career in a way. I know he was on a bit of a dry spell in the early '90s, and then Pulp Fiction was a movie that kind of brought him back. Uma Thurman, Academy Award nominated actress. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that Quentin Tarantino is an Academy Award winning writer and director. Uma Thurman, Academy Award nominated actress, plays Mia Wallace. She's known for playing Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin.
Yes.
A movie that I have yet to actually like strap myself down and force myself to watch.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Save yourself.
I was watching like the first like 20 minutes. I'm thinking like, why did I like this so much when I was 5? No, goodbye. Put on The Dark Knight. She played the bride. I'm not going to reveal the bride's name for those who haven't seen Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. The bride, aka Black Mamba, in Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. And speaking of another movie where the book was better than the movie, she played Medusa in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
But from what I'm told by my children, the series is really good.
I've also
yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. 100% is.
At some point, I'm going to watch
Samuel
the series.
L. Jackson, Academy Award nominated. Oh, actually, Academy Award winner too. Lifetime Achievement Award he got from the Academy Awards.
Oh,
big up to Mr. Samuel L. Jackson for that. As Julius Winfield, known for playing Mr. Senor Love Daddy in Do the Right Thing, 1989, number 96 on the AFI Top 100. I love that movie. Valentine in Kingsman. I love that movie. 2014. Major Marquise Warren in The Hateful Eight. I love that movie. 2015. Nick Fury in Captain Marvel. 2019. Episode 23 of Cobb's Corner. Winter Soldier was one of his best Marvel films. And The Narrator in Inglourious Bastards. I repeated that movie because of a certain person. In 2009. It's a great movie. Gotta watch it. Great time for that movie now.
The narrator in Inglourious Bastards. I think I know Quentin Tarantino. I think he was also uncredited. He's in the movie twice. He's the first Nazi to be scalped on screen, and he's one of the American GIs in the film, the movie within the movie. He's one of the American GIs, and I know Samuel L. Jackson was the narrator. That was actually my introduction to Quentin Tarantino, not this movie.
Really?
It was Inglourious Bastards, because in high school we did a unit on the Holocaust, and we watched just the opening scene of Inglourious Bastards, which is still to me like one of the best villain reveal scenes.
Let's go. Yes.
I mean, just like the blocking, and time does not permit me to be able to like go into full detail to describe like what I was seeing, but that's actually my favorite Tarantino film, not Pulp Fiction. Maybe that's a hot take. I think Pulp Fiction is his masterpiece. I think it's his best one, but I don't know. Inglourious Bastards is still my favorite.
I'm gonna up your hot take. I agree with that.
Okay.
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. Like today, Inglourious Bastards, you can watch that 20, 30 years from now. You'll get what's going on. Pulp Fiction set the standard. I totally agree with that. 100%. Your hot take is valid. From my personal point of view, your hot take is valid for me.
Alrighty. Without any further ado, let's go to Cobb's Corner. And we're back. So, I'll let you guys kind of start us off. What's your favorite parts of the movie? I feel like I know which scene you guys are going to talk about first, but I'll just kind of give you guys the floor. What What's everyone? What were your favorite parts of the movie? Favorite
I mean,
yeah.
Christopher Walken in the movie is just absolutely amazing, and
Oh,
it talks about the watch. I mean, and
oh,
where he had to hide the watch. The
yeah,
whole movie is it's so great at pushing the envelope, and it has this great '70s kind of throwback feel to it that it was just absolutely amazing, and to watch the shot of adrenaline in the heart because of the overdose and all of the and her pop up and you watch the needle still in her chest
oh yeah.
because they didn't take it out yet. I mean, it was so I remember being, in my teens, later teens, watching it and being like, this is amazing. This is absolutely ridiculous. And of course, Samuel L. Jackson, quoting the Bible, Ezekiel, what,
Yeah.
25:12, I
Yep.
believe.
Ezekiel
Yeah.
25:17.
25:17. Uh, you know, that's always, and then when he rehashes it back to when dealing with the people in the diner as well. I think it was awesome. I love that his character wants to go walk the land like Cain.
Yeah, like Kane and Kung Fu. Yeah,
I thought we
but
froze
yeah.
for a second. Very, very
Oh
sorry about that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
was
looking
frozen.
around.
I
I thought it
did
was like
freeze for a
double dutch. I
second.
was waiting to talk.
Yeah.
Like I
No,
didn't
no,
want
sorry
to cut
about that.
anybody off. I didn't want to
Sorry
do
about
that.
that.
I didn't want. Nah. I'm relieved. I am so relieved I didn't talk over anybody. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Christopher Walken scene. I'm actually surprised that you brought that up. I actually heard that the scene where Mia Wallace, where they give her the adrenaline shot,
Hmm.
that scene was filmed in reverse. That John Travolta actually pulled the needle out, and then when
Oh,
they edited it in reverse, so it's like he's
so it
stabbing her,
so
but
it
in
looks like
reality,
he's stabbing her harder than he would have
yep.
actually done it in real life.
Yeah, but yeah, that and also I don't know if this is in the trivia, but Quentin Tarantino, he's Jimmy in this movie. Hot take: Quentin
Hmm.
Tarantino is not a good actor.
No.
Uh, Quentin Tarantino or anybody from his team, if you're listening, I would just love to have you guys on the Cobbs Corner,
There you
podcast,
go.
video archives podcast. I think you guys are really great. What you do and everything. Two Bears, One Cave. Shout out to you guys as well. But rumor has it that Quentin Tarantino was going to play the role of the other guy in the bathrobe who actually has the adrenaline shot, the guy whose house.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah,
Eric Stoltz.
yeah, Eric Stoltz. Like
Okay.
he was gonna play that role, but he wanted to be behind the camera when the adrenaline shot scene actually happens. And I think one of the many criticisms that I've heard, at least early on in Quentin Tarantino's career, is that he'll kind of alienate that a lot of his movies are made like specifically for men, and
Hmm.
that there's like not a whole lot of women in his movies. I mean, to be fair, his first movie, Reservoir Dogs, which I know he filmed like independently, there's only two women in that movie in total, and both of them end up having their car stolen. One ends up getting killed. So I can kind of see where they're coming from.
Right.
There was concern over the whole like the song is like stuck in the middle with you, where they have the cop and Vic Vega is actually cuts off the cop's ear. Like there was questions
And
about
then
like should we
screams
include
into
this
it,
scene?
"Hello,
Oh
hello."
yeah, 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 that was whew. And then of course we got Mia Wallace in this movie and then Butcher's girlfriend who doesn't really do much. So I've heard that really Kill Bill was kind of his like middle finger to like the critics, like, no, I'm not a misogynist. Like,
They could have figured that out with Jackie Brown, though. Jackie Brown was one of the
that too.
super strong female characters out there.
Yep.
It's still one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. I'm not even, he's done a lot that I really like and respect. And yes, there are certain things I wish Quentin Tarantino wouldn't do, like as Jimmy when he opens up the door and he says, "Is this dead?" Blah blah story. I wish he wouldn't have put blah blah in there. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
But that's just me. That's me and me being uncomfortable. So and yeah, if you look at even Jackie Brown, the Bridget Fonda character was kind of a tart.
Mm.
so he's doesn't have strong, but also he has given us some of the best stuff and best characters that we've seen. And some of the most harshest characters we've seen. And no matter what, the Uma Thurman character in Pulp Fiction was a strong female character. You know, she survived an overdose. Let's be real. That takes a lot. You know?
Yep. Yeah, of course I gotta bring up the apartment scene. I mean, the fact that the fact that like a lot of times with Quentin Tarantino's movies, like a lot of his characters, they're kind of playing a role. And with the dialogue, I think the dialogue of this movie is probably one of the most well-written movies ever, in my opinion. Just the like basic conversations, like you just see like Vincent Vega, like Vincent and Jules, like they're sitting in the car talking about like oh, it's a Royale with cheese, and it's like oh, like so hash is legal now. It's like, yeah, it's legal to buy it, it's legal to own it. If you're the proprietor of the hash bar, it's legal to sell it, it's legal to carry it. But that doesn't matter because if you get stopped by a cop in Amsterdam, it's illegal for them to search you. Listeners in Amsterdam, verify in the comments below. Feel free.
Yes, in the comments below. Let us know. Because
Yes,
we're thinking about we might do one of these shows over there.
Yeah, of course. I want to have a European tour too. Okay, like WWE can have a European tour. Where's my European tour? Come on. But yeah, you know, the writing in this movie is great. I think also
Absolutely
the way that like the tension like slowly rises in that apartment scene, and you know Jules kind of tries to like he like walks in, he's like no, keep chilling, and then and then with that line of like, oh, hamburgers, it's like, oh wait, where they from? Big Kahuna Burger. That's that Hawaiian burger joint. You know what they call a Royale with cheese in Paris? And it's kind of like a callback to that early scene. So it's like a lot of the writing, nothing's accidental, nothing is useless. Like there's no filler, which I feel like happens a lot with a lot of these movies. I always use the example of Babylon. I don't know if either of you guys saw it. And that movie was just it was 3 hours long. It didn't need to be 3 hours because like in the middle, the pacing, everything slows down in the middle. There's so much like there's like 30 minutes of like extra filler that's not really relevant. And then it all kind of picks up in the end. Like they could have cut out like at least a half an hour. Not every movie needs to be 3 hours long.
No.
But with this movie, it's
with this movie too, and with most Quentin Tarantino movies, it reminds me of Saturday Night Live skits. It's about 15 minutes too long. You know, they could have cut some stuff out, given us a little bit of buffer, and made it tighter. But I feel like in the length that it's right now, it's jazz. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of styles, which it flows in different aspects there. I feel if it gets too much, it's just that's the thing. What I love about Quentin Tarantino is what I loathe about Quentin Tarantino. I love his incredible storytelling, but I think his stories run for too long, and he likes to hear himself talk too much. You know what I'm saying? No, but that's what I'm saying. It feels a lot of his dialogue feels very self-gratifying. And again, I'm not knocking you, bro. And if you feel that I'm wrong, Mr. Tarantino, come on the show. We'll talk about it. That's fine. I have no problem saying this to your face. I don't. So listen to the show. It's fine.
I might need to moderate that episode.
Yeah. That's why I said to be on your show.
No.
I said on this show. I said your show.
My show.
Yeah, your show.
I thought you were gonna do it all normal.
No. We'll do the movie thing here.
Right. I forgot because you guys were on the radio. Yep.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, Tarantino is a phenomenal writer, and I really knew that with True Romance, which was really the first break of Tarantino. True Romance, one of the best, and another phenomenal casting. The whole thing was so well done. That's where you had Brad Pitt sitting on the couch smoking a bong as the police raid. He's like, "You want to hit?" That was one of the best things. But really, you want to talk about the scenes of these movies, and talk about how incredible Quentin Tarantino's mind is. He would apparently shoot extra scenes to make it even further and push the envelope even further, so he could get the scenes he wanted into a rated R film. Initially, they were shooting the scene where Ving Rhames gets defiled. And yeah, and initially there was a scene where he had to actually show his buttocks. Then was one of the edits they tried to put in there. And Ving Rhames was like, "Do they see my face? No? Cool. Tarantino, come here. Makeup." And it was actually Tarantino's buttocks that was in the scene. But they wound up putting that in there so that they could get the scene they wanted under the rated R aspect of it. Push the envelope a little bit further, push the envelope a little bit farther, and you wind up getting what you want. And that's one of the things I totally respect out of Tarantino and what he does.
Yeah. I just like the way that this movie is phenomenally. I think it's a movie you got to watch twice. I think because I don't even think I really understood how everything was interconnected the first time I watched it. The movie both starts and finishes at the coffee shop. But yeah, the whole story with like Vincent and Jules, and then there was again the guy in the bathroom. He comes out and then he shoots. I actually noticed, and I think this was pointed out to me in one of the videos I watched. You can see the bullet holes in the wall already before he actually shoots, and then before Jerry Seinfeld's stunt double actually shoots, and then they're still alive. So then they had to, and then Vincent and Jules are still alive, and then Jules kind of starts to acknowledge like, no, this was an act of God. It's like I'm done with the life. I heard a theory that Rufus in Kill Bill Volume 2, the piano player, who's also played by Samuel L. Jackson, that Rufus is actually supposed to be Jules. Again, there's the whole QT universe theory. I even had a theory that the sword that Butch finds in the sword that he finds in the pawn shop, because I know the hammer is a reference to Friday the 13th, chainsaw is a reference to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, baseball bat reference to Walking Tall. I forget what movie the sword was a reference to, but if you remember in Kill Bill Volume 2, Bud says how he pawned his Hattori Hanzo sword years ago. I'm wondering, was that the Hattori Hanzo sword? Same
Could
universe.
be. Could be. They do a lot of stuff. Well, even Vincent Vega and the guy from the Reservoir Dogs are related.
Right, Vic Vega. Yep.
Vic Vega. They're either brothers or cousins or something like that. There's all of this intertwine, and that's when you can create your own universe. That's awesome. So I do hope, and I love those little Easter eggs that are left in there, like the hammer and all those kind of stuff. Paying tribute, and even the way Tarantino shoots things. He can shoot it in a specific style to allow that to go through. Like Jackie Brown was shot like a exploitation film was shot. And it was very well done. The Hateful Eight was shot like a Western was shot, which is shot like a samurai film was shot. So I dug it.
Yeah, I think the Hateful Eight was filmed on I forget like something that was, I think 7mm film or so, which I hear is like actually not easy to come by these days. But yeah, the Hateful Eight, and I think also, and then also the storyline with Butch and how he had actually ended up, and I actually didn't pick up on this before I rewatched the movie last night. I didn't realize that Butch actually killed the other guy. He actually killed the other boxer, and then made his escape. And then I remember Easy, you were saying like the scene with Christopher Walken. I almost forgot that he was in the movie.
I'm a huge Walken fan. And that whole aspect of it. This watch, I had to keep it in. I'm trying to keep it clean because it's a family show.
Right,
but
this watch, your father hid this,
and then I hit it.
Then I hit it, right? But then just going through like the 3 generations, how Butch is from a family. He's from like, I guess, a multi-generational English military family, and how his great grandfather bought the watch and then went off to fight in the Great War, or the World War I, and then his great grandfather actually made it home from the
Mhm.
war and then gave it to his son, Butch's grandfather, who was a Marine that ended up getting killed at the Battle of Wake Island, and and had actually given his watch to like one of the gunners, and then so the watch made it home to his infant son, who he never got to meet,
Right.
and who's then Butch's father, who then went and fought in Vietnam, and I mean, we just did an episode on Platoon, but just the whole history of the watch, and then like understanding like why Butch kind of snaps at his girlfriend for like forgetting the watch, and he's like, that was like the one thing you weren't supposed to forget was the watch, and like, but then he kind of like gathers himself, he's like, look, it's not your fault, I hadn't told you the like the amount of like stuff that like this watch has been through and like how it's been passed down. It's really a family heirloom at that point, and what his father specifically had to go through in order to get that watch to him, and why he will always wear that watch with pride. And the movie deals with the theme of redemption as well, because a lot of the characters, like, they'll end up doing bad things. Like, I guess, Jules, he's a mafia hitman. Like, him and Vincent, they're mafia hitmen, and we see them. We see them kill Brett in the apartment, and then even after Jules has his revelation and says, "I'm done," they have Marvin in the back seat, and and as they're driving, just seeing just like Vincent just like kind of trying to wrap his mind around, like, you really think that it was like an act of God? And then he turns around to Marvin, it's like, hey Marvin, what do you think? You think that it was an act of God? And then the gun goes off. I'm like, they just had to kill Samurai Jack in the back seat. Yeah, don't think I didn't notice Phil Lamar. He's a really great voice actor.
Really
Shout out
good.
to you,
Yeah,
Mr. Lamar.
definitely.
I'm a huge fan of your work. I can't wait to have you on the podcast. We can talk about Futurama, Samurai Jack. Not entirely sure what other stuff
Green
he's
Lantern,
been. Oh, Green Lantern. Yep.
Static
Aaron
Shock, you
Pierre.
said, right? Yeah.
Oh, yep. Static Shock as well. Yep. So we'll have a whole Phil Lamar series. But yeah, and then how they've just killed someone, and now then they're at Jules's house, and then like Jules, who's just like the kind of the friend that the friend that Jules has they're at Jimmy's house, who then
Right.
just so happens to be the associate that Jules has, and then Jimmy is like, don't Jimmy me, Jules, and then he and then just seeing Quentin Tarantino in the bathrobe, like, I want that bathrobe. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, and he's like, they're like trying to change the subject, like, man, it's some really good coffee. You write that nice like gourmet, like, it's like, I already know that the coffee's good. I know because I'm the one. I know because I like to taste it. I'm the one who buys the coffee. When Bonnie goes out and buys the coffee, she buys the awful stuff. It's like, so that, do you see a sign in front of my house that says dead?
Right.
It's like, I'm talking about the dead in the car in the garage. Now Bonnie comes home from graveyard shift, okay, and sees me with you guys. I'm gonna get divorced. No trial separation, no counseling. I'm gonna get divorced. Right? So you gotta make some phone calls. You gotta call some people. Do it. That's my official audition tape for Avengers Doomsday. But again, Kevin Feige, Robert Downey Jr. Just hit me up. Anybody's hiring. But but yeah, then seeing of course Harvey Keitel, classic Quentin Tarantino recycling his cast
Mr.
members.
Clean, yeah.
Yep, I know Harvey
Mr.
Keitel. He
Wolf.
was Mr. Wolf. He was Mr. White in
Wolf, I'm
Reservoir
sorry, Mr. Wolf.
Dogs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he was in any other Tarantino films.
I think he's been in a majority of them.
Has he?
Hold, please.
Oh, to answer your question a little bit earlier, 70 millimeter for the Hateful Eight.
70 millimeter. Okay, so it was 70 mil.
Yeah.
7D millimeter, not 7 millimeter.
7D.
Right.
Yeah. It's all good.
But yeah, bring in Harvey Keitel, and then him sort of just handling that whole situation, and and yeah, I mean, Jules leaving the life behind, him sort of being given that second chance, and then even Butch, after he has betrayed Ving Rhames, who I actually heard an interesting theory about his character, which I'll get to in a second. Uh, after he has betrayed him, he then like sees him at that crosswalk, which I think was a reference to Psycho, and hits him with his car. But then now it's like, okay, kind of like an enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. There's of course that viewer discretion advised scene, and
With the
you know
send on the gimp.
right, yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
Just yeah, there's the gimp scene, and then the two of them, they both walk away from that. Ving Rhames, Marcellus Wallace, he gives Butch a free pass. He says, you're free to go, get out of LA, but don't ever come back. So kind of giving him that shot at redemption. And then Jules at the coffee shop allows Tim Roth and his wife Yolanda, and I can't remember if they ever say Tim Roth's character's name in the movie, but
It's Bunny Yolanda or Bunny. They also called her Bunny a lot, and then
right,
I don't remember.
Honey Bunny,
Honey Bunny. It's all right, the Honey Bunny.
yeah.
But
then
to answer your question from before, Quentin Harvey Keitel has been in Inglourious Basterds, has been in Pulp Fiction, has been in Reservoir Dogs, has been in From Dusk Till Dawn. So
right. I was gonna say from Dusk Till Dawn, which I know was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Well, it was half directed by Tarantino as well. It was a split. He was like a co-director on the thing.
Co-director,
and it was written by Tarantino.
Right, it was written by Tarantino as well.
Tarantino. So
But
was he in any? He wasn't in any of the Grindhouse ones, right?
No,
I don't think so. No, because that was Death Proof and Planet Terror.
Right.
I don't think he was in. Tarantino was in Death Proof. He was a bartender.
Yeah.
I think that's the one. I think Pulp Fiction and Death Proof are the only two Tarantino movies that he's been in where he hasn't died.
Right.
I think. He was in Desperado, which was, I think, directed by Rodriguez. He hasn't died in that one. But yeah, I guess being and then Jules having that full circle moment, finally realizing that Bible verse, Ezekiel 25:17, it's like, perhaps, you're the weak, I'm the tyranny of evil men, and I'm trying to be the shepherd. And he just like gives him the money and tells him, you're free to go. It's like on any other day, both of y'all would have been dead, but you caught me at this transitional point in my life. I'm trying to be the shepherd. I'm trying to do better. So I think this movie deals with the themes of redemption and like second chances. So, and then I guess last thing I'll talk about is the MacGuffin that is the briefcase, which all that was in the briefcase was a battery and a light bulb. In actuality, we never actually see what's inside of the briefcase.
Marcellus Wallace's soul.
I was just about to say because I think when Ving Rhames was like shaving his head for the role, he had cut himself on the back of his head and he had the Band-Aid there. And according to theology, when you sell your soul to the devil, your soul exits through the back of your head. So like really that was the especially when they said like, oh, it was I got my boss's dirty laundry. Like some have theorized, like, was it just money? Was it
the cocaine?
Was it the holy grail? Was it like Elvis's jacket or something? Like I've heard so many different like theories, and really MacGuffin, which I've talked about I think in my North by Northwest review. Really a MacGuffin, like no one really knows what it is, but it's just kind of used to drive the plot forward.
Right.
So kind of like, I guess you could say, Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
But yeah, I do like how just overall with this film, like Quentin Tarantino, a lot of paying homage to the films that he grew up with, which I feel like is every Tarantino film. People have said he's the highest paid like fan fiction writer, and paying homage to a lot of the movies that he grew up with, like Psycho, like Once Upon a Time in the West, which I think he claims that Once Upon a Time, I think it was Once Upon a Time in the West or Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was one of those films was the reason why he decided to become a director. He's even said, I remember I was listening to one of the clips of him on the Joe Rogan Experience. Shout out to JRE. Can't wait to be on your podcast. And he said how he's created an entire like subgenre of films, and how his favorite director was Sergio Leone, and everything that Sergio Leone was with the spaghetti westerns, and sort of like taking like all the traditional westerns and then sort of putting his own spin on it, like how with Pulp Fiction Tarantino has taken the traditional like the mob movies, like the Once Upon a Time in America, the Godfather, maybe a Bronx Tale. I'm not sure if a Bronx Tale was out yet at that point, but and kind of like putting his own spin on it and making them kind of everyday people. They're having regular conversations. It's like very basic.
They're having $5 milkshakes. Have you ever had a $5 milkshake?
$5 milkshakes. It's milk and ice cream for $5.
Now I wish I could have a $5 milkshake. They're like $15 now for a milkshake.
Hey, telling you that's how old this movie is. Like milkshakes were $5.
Yes. Now we're starting to sound old, bro.
Yes. Well,
back in my day, you could get a milkshake for $5.
Like back in my day, we didn't have trolls on TikTok complaining about. Okay. But yeah, overall, Quentin Tarantino, he's definitely one of my favorite directors. A lot of other films have imitated Pulp Fiction, and Tarantino has claimed on the Joe Rogan Experience how that just elevates his film even more. He's not upset with the fact that there's been so many other films that are kind of not shot for shot remakes of Pulp Fiction, but so many films that will like pay homage to Pulp Fiction or like try to be written or directed in a similar way, which is kind of what Tarantino was doing to begin with. I mean, the movies that he grew up with from the 60s and 70s, but he said how like that just makes his film, which is the original, like that much more precious and that much more golden. That makes sense. But do you guys want to touch on anything else before we get into the awards?
I think we covered a good amount.
All right.
My opinion.
With that, on to Pulp Fiction Plus.
Pulp Fiction Plus. I feel like there should be an extra app for that.
Yep.
Extra 99 cents. You get Pulp Fiction Plus.
Yep. I remember last episode you had said like last time I heard Plus I had to pay an extra $19.95 for it. And I left that in the episode. Like that's in the episode. So
perfect. That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
So starting off with the awards, Pulp Fiction won 1 Oscar, and in total it won 69 awards and 72 award nominations. I think one of those award wins was Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, if I'm not mistaken. But at the Oscars, it only won 1 Oscar. So Preston, kicks off.
1995 nominee for the Oscar of Best Picture was Lawrence Bender.
1995 nominee for the Oscar Best Actor in a Leading Role, John Travolta.
Yeah, this was Travolta's comeback film.
Yes, it was.
1995 Oscar nominee for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Samuel L. Jackson.
1995 Oscar nominee and Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Uma Thurman.
1995 nominee Oscar Best Director, Quentin Tarantino.
1995 Oscar winner for Best Writing, Screenplay written directly for the screen, Quentin Tarantino and the aforementioned Roger Avery.
1995 nominee for the Oscar, Best Film Editing, Sally Meek.
Now
and
into the trivia. Now on to trivia. The movie cost $8 million to make. And initially, the budget was reported to be even lower until Bruce Willis was added to the cast. He had a recent string of domestic failures, but was still a box office draw. So they increased $5 million went to pay the actors and actresses' salaries. The film was already profitable when worldwide rights were sold for $11 million. Again, mainly in the strength of Willis's presence. It went on to gross $200 million at the box office. So a movie that was made for pretty much pennies on the dollar, goes into box office already in the green and then just smokes it even further.
Yep. I mean, I feel like that doesn't happen today.
No.
I feel like a lot of movies today, and we'll get to the actual budget later, and then and then adjust those numbers for inflation, because this movie is over 30 years old. But yeah, I just feel like you don't hear that today. You don't hear. I guess maybe $8 million, considering it was really only, I guess, $3 million, because $5 million went towards the actors' salaries.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really hear about I guess, technically low budget film, kind of going to the box office and just killing it, just making 10, 20 times its reported budget, which I know that was a lot of Tarantino's earlier films. They were through his own independent film company, Band Apart, and then through Miramax Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really until I think maybe around Kill Bill, Death Proof, that was when he started to have, I guess, more big name distributors and big name studios. The, I guess, now infamous Weinstein Company. But Uma Thurman originally turned down the role of Mia Wallace. Quentin Tarantino was so desperate to have her as Mia, he ended up reading her the script over the phone, finally convincing her to take on the role. This was one of the pieces of trivia that I had heard as I was researching the movie.
Quentin Tarantino wrote the character Winston, quote unquote, the Wolf, specifically for Harvey Keitel.
Uma Thurman didn't actually like the song that was played at the Jack Rabbit Slim's Twist contest, Chuck Berry's You Never Can Tell. She told Tarantino about this, saying it did not sound right. Tarantino simply replied, "Trust me, it's perfect."
Right. Trust me, it's perfect.
Trust me, it's perfect.
It's a common song that everybody twists to. Do you see a sign in front of the 1964 Chevelle Malibu convertible, driven by Vincent Vega, played by John Travolta, belonged to writer and director Quentin Tarantino and was stolen during production of the film. In 2013, a police officer saw two kids stripping an older car. He arrested them, and while looking up the owner of the vehicle, he found the VIN had been altered. It turned out that it was Tarantino's stolen car. The owner had recently purchased it and had no idea it was stolen.
Wow.
Well, I mean, thank God that they got the car back. I mean, so. Preston, why don't you take it away with our user review?
Simply the best. To put in this context, I am 34 years old, and I have to say this is the best film I have seen without doubt, and I don't expect it will be beaten as far as I am concerned. Obviously, times move on, and I acknowledge the fact that due to its violence and one particularly uncomfortable scene, this film is not for everyone, but I still remember watching it for the first time, and it blew me away. Anyone who watches it now has to remember that it actually changed the history of cinema. In context, it followed a decade or more of action films that always ended with a chase sequence where the hero saved the day, or you could have written those films yourself. Pulp had you gripped and credited with the audience with intelligence. There is not the line wasted. Actually, there is not a line wasted. My apologies. Dialogue and the movie incorporates a number of complexities that are not immediately obvious. It is also resurrected the career of Grease icon John Travolta and highlighted the acting talent of Samuel L. Jackson. There are many films now that are edited out of sequence and have multiple plots, etc. But this is the one they all want to be or all want to beat, but never will.
IMBD rating 8.9 star or 10 stars.
Yes, well, 8.9 out of 10 stars.
Out of
This
10
user
stars.
review was provided to us via IMDb via the user Wolves Rug on January 8th, 2005. So big shout out to Wolves Rug. The Letterbox score is 4.5 out of 5 stars, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm hesitant to ever rate a movie 5 out of 5. So, you know.
I feel the same way. Release date October 14th, 1994, in the United States.
Country of origin, United States.
Yeah. The movie is in English, Spanish, and French. Trying to think, where is the Spanish spoken? But yeah. English, Spanish,
Lord
and
help
French.
me. Also known as, I should have took Duolingo, Tiempos Violentos, or Violent Times in Mexico.
Yes, that was the Mexican release title.
Yep.
So all out to my listeners south of the border.
Filming location 1435 Flower Street, Glendale, California, USA, for Jackrabbit Slim's exterior.
So everybody put that into your GPS, and we should all go and take pictures outside of Jackrabbit Slim's, and you can tell them that Cobbs Corner sent you.
There you go.
Production companies, Miramax Pictures, A Band Apart, and Jersey Films. If I'm not mistaken, A Band Apart is Quentin Tarantino's privately owned film company.
Box office. The budget was $8 million estimated, about $70.2 million in 2025.
17.2 million.
Gross US and Canadian, we did 107,928,762, and that's about 232.4 million in 2025. Wow.
And with that 107, making over 107 million at the domestic box office, internationally, well, worldwide, it made 213,928,762 So it made an extra $106 million at the worldwide box office, which translates to about 460.6 million, so almost $461 million in today's money. So yeah, a lot of money.
Rotten Tomato score, tomato meter, 92%.
Audience score, 96%.
Critics' consensus, injecting its compendium of crime tales with the patois of everyday conversation. Pulp Fiction is a cinematic shot of adrenaline that cements writer-director Quentin Tarantino as an audacious purveyor of killer kino.
Where to watch? Watch Pulp Fiction with a subscription on Disney Plus and Hulu, Paramount Plus, rent on Fandango at home, or buy on Fandango at home.
All right. Yep. I actually shout out to NordVPN. I actually just watched this movie. I changed my location to Canada, which I have to do in order to watch NXT or SmackDown on Netflix internationally.
There you go.
And and I just ended up watching Pulp Fiction on Netflix Canada. So shout out to my
Nice.
listeners to the north, and shout out to NordVPN. So that will about do it for today's review of Pulp Fiction. Before we leave, as always, I want to give you guys the floor and just kind of let the listeners know what you guys have coming up on Preston and EZ Bluez, what's coming up for Shame Penguin, any upcoming events, any new episodes that you guys want to plug. You have the floor.
Rock, paper, scissors.
You can go. You can go. It's fine. I always cede the floor to you, sir.
Preston, EZ Bluez _ WNHH on Instagram. Follow us. We really appreciate it. We appreciate everyone getting in contact, just with us, to have great opportunities like this, being with Morgan. And we also, are really grateful. This has been a good year for us so far. We have a lot of guests, a lot of shows, a lot of surprises. We don't want to give anything too much away because myself, Easy, record a lot of stuff recently these past couple months, and we want to just provide you just great entertainment. So just press play and listen to our chaos. And also every Monday, this is pretty much now religion. We want to get nerdy with the professor, Three Nerds Venting. Check us out every platform, every Monday at 12 Eastern. Whatever you want to do it, Spotify, SoundCloud, things of that nature, or if you're on Facebook, please check out the great platform of New Haven Independent. Every time, Monday and Friday, 12 Eastern. Monday you get your Three Nerds Venting. Friday you get me and EZ Bluez interviewing, if I can barely speak, some amazing people. And we're going to be at the SporiaCon. It's a little Black and Latin Comic Con. It's going to be in New Haven, Sunday, April 27th. We have a table. So if you want to just meet us face to face, go right ahead. We're just going to be interviewing a lot of great vendors and creators, and we're really thankful for every opportunity we get. Go ahead, Easy.
And as per with Shame Penguin has their full-length album dropping on all streaming platforms on 4/25 this year. So that's April 25th, that Friday before DysphoriaCon. You can actually download the record and listen to the record as many times as you'd like. Finally get that full-length Shame Penguin record. We're also having a CD release party if you'd like to come and hang out with us at the Cellar on Treadwell in Hamden, Hamden CT. And that is also on the 25th of April. Once again, the 25th of April, you can see us at the Cellar on Treadwell. Feel free to follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere else, and you can stream your music. And definitely like, comment, share. If you like us, share it with your friends. If you don't like us, share us with your enemies.
There you go.
We love you.
Oh, DiasporaCon. My apologies.
Yeah,
I butchered the name. DiasporaCon. I'm sorry, everybody involved with that. My apologies.
I guess the same could be said for Cobbs Corner. It's like if you like this podcast, share it with your friends. If you don't like it, share it with your enemies.
There you go.
Definitely go check these guys out at DiasporaCon, and go listen to Shame Penguin for those of you who have not. I'll wait. Go. No.
Well played.
Yeah, just go listen to Shame Penguin. For the two of you who still haven't clicked off this episode and gone and listened to Shame Penguin, or if you're listening to this in the future and you haven't downloaded the album and listened to it, go listen to the album and then you can come back. Okay, don't worry, we're not going anywhere. No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're still gonna be recording this episode on April 25th. It's still running. It's gonna be in the Guinness World Record for longest podcast
live stream ever.
Let's go.
Yep. I mean, that is all for today's review of. That's all for today's review of Pulp Fiction, if I could speak. If you liked what you heard today, then don't forget to give this podcast a 5-star rating and written review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go follow Preston and EZ Bluez. Go follow them on Instagram and Facebook, and go listen to their podcast if you guys haven't already. I've had them on. This is now their third time here on Cobbs Corner. Like, if any of you still have not gone and actually checked out Three Nerds Venting and actually checked out the episodes that Preston and EZ Bluez have going on and all the amazing people that they're interviewing, go check these guys out. They definitely have my endorsement for sure. To the YouTube audience, make sure that you guys like this video, share it, subscribe, and click that bell so you get notified when I upload new videos and episodes. I'm starting to upload videos exclusively on the YouTube channel. And if you want to stay up to date on all things Cobbs Corner, then you gotta follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, minus the trolls, and Letterboxd. I've started adding more stuff to Letterboxd. I'm gonna start leaving more reviews to Letterboxd, and maybe when I do solo episodes, I'll kind of talk about my Letterboxd reviews and Letterboxd recaps. All that information is in the show notes below. Email me with movie suggestions, comments, etc. at cobbscornerpodcast@gmail.com. If you made it to the end of this episode, I greatly appreciate it. Click the video on the screen right now to listen to our review of Platoon that I also did with Preston and EZ Bluez. It is a complete banger of an episode. As always, I will talk to all of you in the next episode, and stay tuned for Do the Right Thing. Peace.